Hmm. Oh, well, hello, all my wonderful broskies and broskies of the Maverick Nation. Hmm. I bet you're all wondering, why am I wearing this hat? Why am I not wearing my normal hat of what if-free? That's because this is not a normal what if. Like I said in the Ruby video, I want a certain what if to kind of be like the Naruto Bleach fused together what if, and that it's pretty damn long, and that I'm pretty damn into it. Or at least I'm still into it. It's just it's kind of running me dry. And it's like every time I go to whenever I used to go and try to record episodes a lot, like every time I would try to go and record the episode, like I would either accidentally erase it or, you know, get really bored or exhausted or just not have the energy that I used to usually have whenever I made those videos. I just don't have the energy anymore. Or at least maybe in doing these I can find that energy again. Maybe in doing these what ifs, like this BakuDeku what if, maybe in doing this what if, I'll be able to find that energy, that spark again. A very special kind of spark. That will make everything more better. For the people that really do indeed like that series. That are really wanting it to continue. Or at least so that we can finish, the freaking war arc. And now the Wi-Fi cut back off. Son of a bit. Never mind. This is not about that. This is about BakuDeku. And me trying to explain some things to get everything clear. I know there are a lot of you guys that really like that series. I'm trying to do a series that will be like that series, that will be really, energetic, really, I can, get into it. Because I've been doing What If series, but, pretty much everything is the same, everything, you know, it's just the same amount of energy. It's not like with my Naruto X Bleach What If, where I had so much energy whenever I went into parts. Or at least, if you guys couldn't see it, I'm pretty sure I did have a lot of energy whenever I went into parts. I had I had a lot of shit, I either figured out or I was figuring it out along the way, and I'm telling you, it was smooth AF, buddy. It was smooth AF, my fam. It was so damn smooth. Smooth AF, my fam. I've just been, it's just, whenever you're looking for something that will reignite that, it will either reignite it for your old series or ignite it for this one, and this series will cause the flame to be ignited for the other one. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen, but hey, it's BakuDeku. You just throw caution to the wind as soon as you say that. As soon as that is mentioned, everyone just throws caution to the wind. Hmm. How exactly? But how exactly would I do this series? How? And that is where you guys are going to get a little bit of a treat. as I'm gonna, jump straight in. Like, freaking just jump straight the frick in. With sort of like, it's after the second sludge villain attack, where Bakugo was the hostage. It's after that, and the sludge villain is basically out. And then there's a third, there's like another person. And basically, like, Izuku's like, what, who are you? And basically, all the crowd, all the media are gone at this point, so no one is really watching. And this person is just like, where the hell's the sludge villain? Oh, yeah, that's right. I was never really known as a villain to be loyal, or actually say what I mean. And Izuku's just like, wait, you were planning on helping that guy? And, he's just like, well, I don't really know how I would have been able to help considering what my quirk is. But, considering as you failed both times you tried to do something. First, whenever he attacked you, and the second time is whenever you tried to help that Kachan kid. Tyaski Bakugo. You failed miserably, and All Might had to save you again. And, like, freaking Izuku's like, well, anyways, what is your quirk if you're a villain? What is your quirk? And, the villain would just be like, well, if you really want to know, like freaking that the villain will just be like, the name of my quirk, it's called Gender Bend. And my villain name, Heartbreaker. And Izuku's like, Heartbreaker? And your quirk's name is Gender Bend? Why is it called Gender Bend? I don't even know what that means. And basically, Heartbreaker would be like, and that's exactly why you're the perfect candidate, besides all the other reasons I mentioned, for me to use my quirk on. It will take a little bit of a while to actually, kick in, but that's only because you're such a cinnamon roll. Maybe if you were not so innocent, my quirk would be able to develop faster inside of you. And Izuku's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? All I'm seeing is a bunch of flashing lights. And basically, Heartbreaker is just like, that's my quirk. Its effectiveness kicking in. Soon, very soon, my actual power of my quirk will indeed happen. However, I do indeed see there is a problem. And then, like, one of the heroes just, like, shoosh, boom, and basically knocks Heartbreaker out with, like, a bunch of freaking feathers. And Izuku's like, what, Hawks? And basically Hawks, I don't know if, like, Hawks was number 3 or number 4 hero, but a Hawks just, like, comes to the situation and just, like, knocks Heartbreaker out. And it's just, like, and, like, all of a sudden, like, Izuku feels weird. He just like falls down. And he's like freaking conked out. Conked the frig out. And basically, whenever Heartbreaker's taken to jail and woken up by freaking, like, pouring ice water on the dude. And basically, All Might's there and he's just like, you, Heartbreaker, we've been looking to find you and the sludge villain. But you won't be sharing cells. And we've created a barrier so that you won't be able to use the quirk on us. And Heartbreaker's like, why? It would be useless on any of you. However, that kid, there's so much in him, so much innocence that could be corrupted by the simple switch of a sign. A circle that points with an arrow, and a circle that down from it is a cross. An upside down cross. Gender bend is my quirk. That's how it works. And All Might's just like, you used your quirk on someone? And basically Heartbreaker would just be like, yes, indeed I did. Yes, indeed I did, All Might. And I'm not afraid to say it because you can't do jack shit. If you kill me, then the quirk spores will be released and Izuku will slowly start to die. It's only a secondary ability to part of my quirk. Damn it, that's right. If you die, then all those that you have affected with your quirk will die as well. Due to some sort of quirk spore thing you've been talking about. He's just like All Might's just pissed. And he's just like, where is Izuku Midoriya then? And Heartbreaker would just be like, you can ask Hawks. Hawks is the one that defeated me after all. But I doubt you'll get any sort of successful advice. Though there is something I have to say. Whenever you see the end result, don't be too startled. It's just the normality of my quirk. If anyone's seen Izuku Midoriya before the effect, they'll know that it's him, just from some slight similarities. Even if gender banded, they will still have some slight similarities to each other, which is how you'll be able to tell if someone's been affected by my quirk. The similarities are still there. Well, some of them are. Even though things are changed, some things are still the same. I've been working to perfect my quirk, but the sled villain he kept on getting in my way. Which is why I had to throw him to the wayside and leave him to fend for himself. I can't have someone like him or anyone else getting in the way of me. Well, seems I can't really do anything right now, so. Well, shit, beep, out of luck. Should've chose my friends better. If you can't tell, I'm making Heartbreaker insane. If you can't tell, I'm making Heartbreaker absolutely freaking insane. Anyways, well, Deku does wake up and realizes whenever, looks in the mirror, has a lot longer hair. And, looks at his big mirror, that shows a lot more of him. And he starts to regret ever looking at the bigger mirror. Because, he starts to realize he has the Jungas. He has the fake Dragon Balls, if you know what I mean. The chest abnormalities, I guess you could call them. Known as BOOBS. Yes, Booby Town. Because, he did use his quirk, and it surrounded Izuku and sort of absorbed itself into Izuku, so thus for you know, successfully gender bending him. Now he's a girl. Basically, Izuku's just like, uh, I, I'm, I'm, and freaking like everybody who's just there are just like they just hear like this scream, like a girl scream, where Izuku's like room is, and Kachan's the first one to actually get through there because he's exploding shit like crazy. He's just like the frick, Izuku, you Izuku has a girlfriend. He's just like Izuku has a girlfriend, and then he just goes like straight through like explosive speed, and then he's just like AP freaking shot, like armor piercing shot right through the door. Boom. And just like Izuku's like just like even louder scream because he's like actually scared of Bakugo. Like he's not just scared of him because it's Bakugo, and Bakugo tends to bully him a lot, but he's also scared of him because freaking he's a girl now, so it gives him like even more fuel for insults and things that he could do. And Bakugo's just like, wait, I recognize that girly ass scream from anywhere. Izuku, is that you? No, he's just like, Deku, is that you? He's like, I would realize that girly ass scream from anywhere. Like, Deku, is that you? And freaking, like, Izuku is just like, and like, Bakugo would just be like, Deku, is that really you? And, freaking, like, Izuku would just be like, yes, it is me. I'm gonna try to do a girl Deku voice. Yeah, Kachan, it is me. But, I don't know how. Wait a second. That villain, he called himself Heartbreaker. And, Bakugo would realize from, like, one of the times where he, like, was bullying Izuku by looking through his diary while sitting on him. Like, not looking at his journal while sitting on him. Like, sitting on his stomach. And, like, he would, like, it wasn't just, like, a hero journal, it was also a villain journal. And he would realize that one of the villains was named Heartbreaker. And his quirk was freaking gender bending people. And Bakugo would just be like, oh, the freaking, like, effect of his quirk is in your journal. How could you forget that? And basically, Izuku's like, wait, yeah, that's right, I do remember. The villain Heartbreaker. He was never stopped, though. And he allied himself with the sludge villain. At least that's what he was trying to get across, I think. And I guess whenever Sludge Villain was defeated the second time, he decided to come out and play. Well, he didn't play very nice. Now I'm a girl. And, Kirishima's like, Baku, bro? Are you okay, man? And, like, Todoroki's like, um, uh, I'm not exactly sure if I should or shouldn't be involved into this. What's going on? Like, does, Deku have a girlfriend who just seems to really look like him? And then Bakugo would explain about the whole, villain named Heartbreaker and his quirk. And basically, yeah, that happened. And basically, as Bakugo would also explain, that, considering all the different people he's done this to, that Heartbreaker had done it to, you know, the quirk kind of never really ends. And then Izuku was just like, wait, I forgot that part too. Oh no. Oh no, that means. And Bakugo's just like, yep, Deku, you're a girl now. And whenever, like, freaking Inko would just come barreling in, like, hearing everything, and Mitsuki would come barreling in, like, hearing everything, And basically they would be oh shit. It'd just be like, Inko would be like, oh, my good little cinnamon roll of a boy. Oh, what's happened to you? And basically he would explain basically everything that Kachan said, only like less swear words. And he'd just be like, yeah, that, Mom. That's what happened. And, Inko would be like, uh, so you're a girl now? I'm going to have to look for even more girl clothes that fit you? And, basically, like, Izuku would be like, yep. Considering, like Kachan said, like I know because it's my hero journal, hero and villain journal, his quirk, unless he wants it to, won't end. Well, the effects of it. And if he's ever killed in order to try to, de-quirk people, those people that have been affected by the quirk will all die. Basically, Inko would be like, so it's irreversible? And, like, freaking Izuku would be like, unless you want to take me to the number one villain, see if that will work. And basically everybody would know they're just talking about All For One, and the fact that, All For One can, take away quirks, and maybe, if he took away the thing. But, they really don't, no one wants to take those chances. Nobody wants to take those chances. And so, basically, Izuku's like, so I'm a girl now. Shit. Rame, fuck. And Bakugo's like, so, can all you guys get the out of my room? You just be like, can all of you mother get out of my room? Like, Kachan would be like, except for you, and, Izuku would be like, what's wrong? Kachan, what's wrong, Kachan? Basically, he would exclaim, well, um, you still, uh, you want to be a hero, right? But you're pretty much quirkless except for the quirk effect on you. We could technically say that you were a boy once and now you're a girl and that's the quirk, but you can't turn it off. And Izuku would be like, well, I guess. If no one else knows the truth, I guess we could do that. And it's just like, Izuku would be like, so, is there anything else you wanted me to stay here for? And everyone else to not stay here? And basically Kachan would be like, you know, basically, we're both 15, right? And Izuku would just be like, yeah, what does that have to do? What does our age have to do with anything? And, Kachan's like, well, age of consent, dumbass. And Izuku would just be like, he would just be like drinking a drink to try to calm herself down. I'm just gonna have to say her whenever I refer to Izuku. If I'm not saying Izuku, I'm gonna have to say her now. Jesus, that's gonna be uncomfortable. Anyways, to calm herself down, and basically, you just be like, freaking orange juice everywhere. And, Bakugo would be Bakugo would be like, okay then. And Izuku's just like, no, not okay. What you're inferring? But age of consent. What are you inferring? And Bakugo's just like, well, 14, 14 and after is pretty much age, age and consent. And Izuku's just like Bakugo's just like age of consent, as in since you're 15, that's past 14, and 14 is the age of consent. Well, do you consent to what I am about to do if you do consent? Like, if you consent, I'll do it, but if you don't consent, I can't do it because I would be breaking the law. Because age of consent. And Japan is apparently 14. That's apparently the age of consent for Japan is 14. And my hero takes place in Japan, so that would be the age of consent. And since they're both 15, the whole age of consent thing. So Bakugo was like, "Do you consent to what I am about to do if you consent?" And Izuku's like, "Well, what exactly are you about to do?" "Well, you always wanted to give me a hug." And basically, Izuku was just like, "Well, of course I would consent to that." Basically, he's like, "Okay then, that's step one." And basically he says that like, as he's hugging her, and he's just like, "That's step one clear. Now, do you consent to step two being clear?" And Izuku's like, "Well, what's step two?" And Kachan's like, "Oh, Izuku, oh, what else do people in relationships do?" And Izuku was just like, "People in relationships?" And Kachon, he would just be like, "Okay, I admit ours has been pretty rocky in the fact that I've never really been nice to you, but for some reason, I basically he's just like, for some reason now I don't feel like being that way anymore. For some reason, things feel different. I don't know, maybe it's some sort of quirk radiation, like radiating off of you that's sort of changed my mood against you. Okay, fine, I'll tell the truth, damn it. If you're really gonna wait all that long for me to say something, I'll tell you the truth. Listen, Izuku, you always wanted to make me a friend, and for some reason now that you're a girl, I feel like I want to make you, that, but, your gender before the thing, friend." And, like, Izuku's just like, "Girlfriend?" And, Kachan is just like, "Shh, don't say it to everyone up for everyone else to hear." And Izuku's like, "Oh, yeah, that. Wait, why now? Why, after all of 10, 11 years of being bullied, and now you want to be nice to me?" And Kachan's like, "It's complicated. I'm sorry. It's just, you know how things work, everyone else. If it wasn't being bullied by me, it'd be bullied by someone else." And Izuku's like, "What do you mean?" "Izuku, before now you had nothing similar to a quirk. And now that you do have something similar, basically, now I can say how I really feel. I always really felt like if I wasn't the one, then it would be someone else. And I don't trust other people to, not basically. I always thought that they would go farther than I would ever go with you on the whole bullying thing. That they would go worse. And so that's why I decided that I would be the one who bullied you and said all those mean things. Because I was the only person who trusted myself with actually, you know, not hurting you any worse than that. I mean, like you said once before, whenever I was bullying you, Sticks and stones may break my bones. Words will never hurt me. I only did those things because I didn't want anyone else to. Do you? And as for my goons, I guess you could call them, I just stuck with it to make sure that nobody was assuming anything about my behavior towards you, other than what I wanted them to assume, and that I was bullying you because you didn't have a quirk. In reality, I was only doing that because I knew if I didn't do it, or at least I believed if I didn't do it, it would be someone else worse who was doing it to you, and worse than I was doing it. At least I know you could repair yourself. You could get back up after I did something to you. But I wasn't really sure if you'd be able to do the same if it was someone else. So in reality, I was just really worried about you. Worried about your safety. The safety of someone I actually really care about. Whenever I heard you were quirkless, I was actually pretty damn sad for you. But I knew I never could show it, at least to the public. So we just have to make it to where they don't know. Okay? And basically, Izuku is just like, you did all of that because you thought if you didn't, it would be someone else worse who did? So you thought what you were doing was saving me from a worse fate. I I appreciate the sentiment, but it just seems like it's too late for that, Kachan. And Kachan is like, and I can understand why you would say that. Which is why I... And, Bakugo just, lays something down on, Izuku's desk. And basically, Izuku is like, huh? And Bakugo just runs out of the room and basically closes the door behind him. She basically, Izuku is basically like, what did he leave on the deck? And he just sees flowers with a note that says, I'll always love you. Girlfriend and boyfriend or not, I'll always love you. And, no, Izuku is just like, damn, he was serious. Because, Izuku wasn't actually sure if what Kachan said was true. But now he just got it hit into his face that it was true. And now she's like, and Izuku was just like, I better come over to his house. And she's just like she still has one for all. Like, just because the gender change doesn't mean that you lose that quirk. I mean, just because the gender changes doesn't mean that you would lose it. I mean, still has it. So just use this full cowling in the legs, not throughout the whole body, but just in the legs, and just races out. And, I'm sure that she would close the door behind her, but still just races out all the way over to Mitsuki's house, and we knock on the door, ring on the door, freaking the doorbell, and Mitsuki would be eventually like, Izuku, is that you? So everything I was told from your mother was true. You really are a girl. Bakugo looked depressed whenever he came back home. He had tears in his eyes. Is that the reason why you're here? And Izuku was like, yeah, but it's just everything else I need to keep in between me and Bakugo. Damn it. Will you stop freaking notifying me of that if I can already see the damn thing, so I know offline. Oh my god, it's like my computer thinks I'm a freaking 2-year-old. It's like my computer thinks I'm a freaking 2-year-old. Which I'm not, by the way. Anyways, basically, he goes all the way upstairs and knocks on Bakugo's door. And Bakugo's just like, Kachan's just like, who is it? And then he just hears in the sweetest little cinnamon roll voice, oh, no one, just except for the person you gave those flowers. I mean, it is very weird how you would just give those and just run away. And, Kachan is just like, wait, Deku came all the way over here? Why? If they're not interested, then why? And Izuku is just like, I'm gonna keep on knocking till you let me in. Or should I blow down your house like a big bad wolf? Ruff, ruff. And, Kachan would just be like, okay, I'll give you that. You're funny. And he would just open the door, and then all of a sudden, just like someone would close the door behind them and just be like, okay, now that I have you all to myself, explain these. And, like, the flowers would just be in front, and Kachan would just be like, everything that's on the letter, basically. And Izuku would be like, I just don't think it's that. I think you are a little bit more. And Kachan is just like, okay, fine. I asked for your consent on part 2 because I was going to. And Izuku's just like, don't worry, I know. You're gonna smooch on me. And he would just be like, I was gonna smooch you if you consented. But apparently that doesn't matter now. And Izuku's like, just slaps him on the face and just be like, of course it matters. And just to show how much it matters, just to be like, mwah, and basically smooch him on the cheek and like freaking like Kachan knows that basically the same mindset as male Izuku, it's just the gender is switched. So like plus I guess the hormones would like kick in, like the whole thing about period and pregnancy and that stuff would kick in because gender switch, those things would be important. And so basically, Izuku would, like, Kachan would just be blushing, like, so freaking red, like a fire hydrant. He would just be blushing all the way to hell, like chokeslam all the way to hell. Why did I sound like freaking Goofy whenever I said all the way to hell? Why did I sound like Goofy whenever I said all the way to hell? Like, look, Mickey, I'm gonna chokeslam him all the way to hell. Okay, that was indeed my Goofy accent, like kicking in there like at the last second. But why does it always kick in like whenever I say all the way to hell? Why does it only kick in then? I guess because I was laughing at myself. It was kind of broken. But, you know, everybody loves Goofy. Everybody loves a good Goofy. But, you know, basically, like, red as a freaking fire hydrant. Like, blushing red as a freaking fire hydrant. And Izuku just sees this. And then, the hormones kick in. And it's just like, so, you want to smooch? And it's just like, Kacchan is just like, um, you know, well, do you consent to part 2? You never answered. And, Izuku, knowing what part 2 is now, is just like, of course I consent. Of course, Kachan. And then the Kachan is just like, well then, no problem. Mwah. And basically, Izuku was just like red as a freaking fire hydrant, and just like, uh, uh. And Kachan would be like, is something wrong? Did I hurt you? And like, Izuku was just like, Kachan, I never knew you were such a good kisser. And Kachan is just like, what? And basically, he would be like, just in order to like save himself from being completely like a red fire hydrant pose, it would basically be like, well, neither did I to you. And Izuku would be like, oh, so we're both good kissers. You're so cute, Kachan. Especially whenever you're blushing. I just don't want you to blush too much. We don't need you, exploding. Like, completely. That would be terrible. And, Kachan is just like, yeah, it'd be terrible because, well, uh, uh. And then he just whispers, he's just like, because I'd never be able to see you again. And, Izuku was just like, what was that? And, like, Kachan would just be like, wait, you were able to hear something about seeing me? And he's just like, freaking Kachan's just like, shit, I wasn't quiet enough. And, she's just like, wait, are you only, like, upset about the whole thing because, if you exploded, you wouldn't be able to see me again? Well, no one's immortal, so eventually I would have to die. So, uh, mm, mm, basically, he'd just be like Izuku would just be like, reminder, Izuku is a girl for this because of Heartbreaker and his gender bending quirk. Izuku is a girl, and they're just like, you're so sweet, Kachan. I could just, I could just gobble you up like a little Hershey's Kisses on Christmas. And like Kachan's just like, what? And and Izuku's just like, you heard me. I could gobble you up like a Hershey's Christmas on Christmas. Hershey's Kisses on Christmas. And like Kachan is just like, now he's kind of like he's just freaking like Izuku grabs him like around his neck and is just like all the way to his face and just like goes up to the hair and starts to stroke it and just like, you're so cute, Kachan. And Kachan is just like, what are you doing? Well, I heard that guys usually do this to girls, so I wanted to see if I could change things up. Like, guys usually do this to girls that they like, so I wanted to see if I could change things up. Like, a little bit. And, Kachan would be like, wait, so you think you're better than me? And Izuku is like, wait, that's not what I meant at all. And Kachan is just like, oh, you think you're better than me? And just like the superiority complex was like complex, like whatever it's called, would start to kick in. But automatically it would like be brought down like a little bit by the fact that like a Kachan really wasn't trying to look Izuku directly in the eyes while all of this was going on. And now he knows why. Like, like he was automatically not trying to look him in the eyes. Because as soon as he's like on top of like freaking like Izuku, and he sees the eyes, it's like the puppy dog eyes, freaking like adorable little cinnamon roll that Izuku is, even as a girl. And it's just like Izuku just sees how Kanchan is just melting away. All of his manliness is melting away. He's just down to like barely anything. And basically Izuku's just like, What happened, Kachan? I thought you were supposed to be the alpha dog dominant. I thought you were supposed to be the #1 hero. What happened? Well, as long as you're like this, you mind, making something for me? I mean, you know, friends do treat friends nice, and I think consenting twice to you is pretty nice of me. So, you know, he's just like consenting twice to you is pretty nice of me. So how about you make me something to eat? And Kachan's just like, uh, make you something to eat? And Izuku's like, yeah, I'm actually really hungry after avoiding death twice and getting my gender swapped. And Kachan is just like, oh yeah, that would be kind of tiring. Well, what do you want to eat? And he's just like, well, surprise me. And he just like, seeing as I just ate a grilled cheese, actually 2 grilled cheeses, I'm gonna say he comes back with 2 grilled cheeses. And Izuku actually does hug Kacha after like the plate is set down on the table. And he's basically just like, you are the best, Kachan. And Kachan is just like, uh, is this how it feels to... No, I won't admit it. I'm not. Uh, and Izuku's just like, you're not what? And, Kachan looks Izuku in the eyes again. He makes that mistake again, like the second time. And the third time, whenever he blinks, and it's just like, no, it's too, uh, uh, what is this? Uh, enjoy your grilled cheese, it's okay? I have to do something. And just goes into the bathroom, and he's just like, and Izuku just hears, like, Kachan yell at the top of his lungs, why? Why is this happening to me? And Izuku's just like, you're not the only one who's going through it, Kachan. I guess I'm just a little bit better at dealing with it than you. Either that or the whole phase of panicking and freaking out hasn't really come to me yet. Though, seeing as, uh, having me first, I don't really see how that's possible. I guess it just must be pretty weird how that guy's quirk works. It must mess with the way that some sort of hormones kind of kick in. Hmm, weird. Wait, since I'm a girl and I'm not a certain age, am I gonna have periods? And he just looks down and he just like, oh my god, I have one. Oh my god, I have one. Oh my god, I lost one. He's just like, I lost my D and I gained a V. He lost his D and he gained a V. And he's just like staring at it and he's just like, so wait, not only am I probably going to, get into a period where I'm more cranky because, period, but, since and Kachan is, wait, Kachan really admitted that he loved me. Like, otherwise I don't think he would have those, roses. Unless he's trying to trick me, but no. In his eyes, whenever he looked into my eyes, I could see into his. And the eyes were the gateway into the soul, and all I saw was love. For some reason, I could tell. All of it was love. And, and confusion, but mostly love. He's just like, Izuku is just like, I'm gonna remember to have to call, like, Izuku, I'm gonna have to remember to call Izuku a she. And basically, Izuku is like, is he falling in love with me? And basically, like, Izuku's like, wait, if I have a V and the whole period thing, I'm pretty sure. Does that mean the other thing? That Inko, my mom, and basically he recalls a time whenever he actually, asked Inko how basically he was, like, brought into the world. And Inko was, like, very weirded out by this. But then again, Izuku was getting to the age where the hormones start to kick in, the teenage years where the hormones start to kick in. So I guess, like, Inko wouldn't think it would be too weird. Like, weird, but not too weird. And, she basically said everything that Izuku wanted to know. And sorta did not want to know because of one part that, well, actually several parts that Izuku imagined wouldn't be too nice of an experience. And, Izuku is just like, but if Mom could go through it, and she has her telekinesis powers, with my powers that I have, I could probably go through it fine, but I don't know. I don't know if Bakugo's, what he's feeling is actually truly. I would need a sign first. And Bakugo just comes like bailing out of the freaking bathroom, and he's just like, yeah, are you done with your, uh, uh, lunch? Because, it was at lunch, it was at lunchtime, which I had those grilled cheeses, so I'm gonna say it's lunchtime whenever, Izuku has her grilled cheeses. Yes, I remembered this time. And basically, Izuku was just like, Kachan, do you love me? And and Izuku is basically like, and do not lie. Be honest. Otherwise, we won't even be able to be friends. You did say something about a girlfriend. Like, Izuku did mention that, like, Bakugo mentioned something about a girlfriend, and Bakugo's just like, well, oh, okay, fine. But the only reason I haven't really mentioned this to Mom or Dad is because, well, I never really knew or felt like I knew how they would react if I did. Plus, this is so sudden. I mean, come on. Me feeling these feelings all of a sudden after bullying you for all that time? I mean, don't you think that would be kind of crazy, like the crazy talk sounded? And, Izuku understands, just like, yeah, I guess you're right. And, Izuku would just be like, so wait, you do love me. And Bakugo is basically like, okay, fine, I don't just like you, I love you, okay? Okay, fine, you win. I do. Just just don't tell anyone else, okay? And like Izuku is just like, Kachan, it's okay for you to feel these feelings. Besides, I'm not the same gender as I was before. So technically you wouldn't be gay. And, Kachan's just like, whatever. But just please promise me you won't tell anyone else. And, you just hear, like, the sound of Aizawa. He was just in a sleeping bag, like, next to the freaking table where freaking Izuku was eating. And Izuku's like, oh, hello! Freaking itchy ass nose. And he's like, hello, Aizawa. Hello, Mr. Aizawa. And Aizawa would be like, heard everything already. And my phone? If you even dare try to explode it. Like that would even matter. The entire conversation recorded already. And sent already. To everyone in Class 1A. And he's like, and Aizawa would just be like, recorded and sent to anyone who was basically anyone to me that I actually think would make it. Like you two, I think, would probably make it. Some of them may be freaking weirdos, but it's not exactly like just the fact that they're weirdos doesn't mean that they can't make it. So, the ones that do make it, I'm going to send it to your entire conversation. Don't even dare try to explode my phone, because if you do, I'm coming after you. And Kachan is just like, shit. Like he could sense the bloodlust in Aizawa whenever he said, "I'm coming after you." But then all of a sudden, Aizawa's bloodlust is calmed down whenever he feels like the arm that doesn't have his phone in it, like the arm that belongs to the hand that doesn't have the phone in it, he could just feel someone grab it and just like he could feel it's almost like they're slowly breaking the bone. And then Aizawa just looks over and it's like, Izuku, what are you doing? And you know, Izuku would basically be like, whoever you send it to, make sure it's only them. If it's anyone else that me or Kachan can't stand, and that would hinder, you know what? I will be the one coming after you. And then he can just like Aizawa can just see full cowling like flaring up, and Aizawa was like, okay then. And then he just like gets back into his sleeping bag and like wiggles all the way out the door. And so yeah, Aizawa is basically going to send it only to the real like the people that go to like class 1A, like class 1A, and the teachers, like since All Might's gonna be teaching, he's gonna know. So yeah. Ah, damn it. Why do you keep on reminding me? I know. I am not 2 years old. I know these things. And so basically, it's just, yeah. And basically, like, seeing as well, some people actually got in because of recommendations, like Momo, and for some reason, Todoroki, he also got in because of recommendations. He would have the message sent to him automatically, and so would Momo. Because they already are going to get in because of recommendations. And Todoroki would be like, oh my god, guys, you don't even have to wait. I'll tell everybody right now. And basically, Izuku can hear something, and it's just like Todoroki, he's like, guys, listen to this. And then he just like, mm, he's just like, Izuku and Bakugo, now that Izuku's a girl, they're like in love with each other. He's just like, Izuku and Bakugo like each other. Kissing. And Momo's just like, okay, Mr. Emo, just freaking shut up. Everybody knows now. Are you happy? And Todoroki's like, whatever. And basically Uraraka, who was really looking into like dating Izuku, but then she finds out about the whole gender swap thing, and then she finds out that actually likes Bakugo, so she's just like completely destroyed. Like she was destroyed first, and then she got completely destroyed whenever Bakugo was mentioned. It was just like the worst day ever for Uraraka, Ochako Uraraka. It was her worst day ever that moment. Or at least that's what she thought. But no, worse things are to come, Ochako. Ochako, there are worse things to come in the near future. Because basically, I'm gonna say, seeing as, Izuku and, you know, Bakugo actually kind of, you know, basically said it to each other that, it's known that they like each other. So basically, they're gonna do whatever it takes to, get the top scores. And, the whole thing with Uraraka being trapped and the whole 0 pointer, Izuku was like, Bakugo, you deal with the 0 pointer, and I'll deal with the girl. And basically, Kachan's like, gladly. And just boom! Right through the freaking 0 pointer. And before it's able to fall on, both of them, Kachan's like, shit! Izuku's not fast enough! And he just, explosive speeds them right past the falling robot. And Izuku's like, well, thanks, Kachan. I had no idea that it was falling in our direction. And Bakugo's like, that's why you need to pay attention more, freaking Deku. And, he would just be like, and would just be like, Izuku would just be like, it's fine. You don't have to worry about calling me Deku. It's fine. Besides, I've kind of grown used to it that you calling me anything else kind of seem weird. So in my eyes, it's not as much as an insult as it is just a normality now. It's just something that you call me, and it's something that I don't mind you calling me anymore. So, let's just finish the test already, okay? I think that has a little bit more importance than, the whole, name thing. And, Bakugo is just like, well, okay then. And, Oshako is just like, recover girl, that whole thing, that business, that jazz. And, basically, Izuku and Kachan both, they both, get told that they passed. But the thing about it is, they actually tied for their placement. There was someone who was really close to getting past them, but just couldn't do it because, like, Izuku and Bakugo, or Kachan, whatever you want me to call him in the future, just are so good and in sync with each other that they know where the other one is at all times, and they're able to, get things done and over with. Izuku would be in more terms of, doing the whole hero point thing, like the rescue thing. He will get villain points, but he would get more hero points than villain points. But with Bakugo, it would be the other way around. But he still would indeed get hero points. Because, they both saved Uraraka. Plus, Bakugo is trying to be a better person now that, the whole love thing is out. He's trying to, be better for Izuku. Now that Izuku also knows why he was being such an asshole. All those times. Bakugo is going to be like, I do need to change. But I'm only changing for Izuku, no one else. I'm going to have to make that clear to myself. The only one I'm changing for is myself and Izuku. But Izuku more than anyone. And myself. Because if I don't change myself, how am I supposed to be able to be the one for Izuku? If I don't change, how will I ever be able to be the one and the only one that Izuku will ever need? If I don't change, Izuku might like someone else, and then go away from me. So basically, Bakugo would be like, alpha dog dominant, but not in the way of bullying everyone. He would just be like alpha dog dominant, as in, stay away from Izuku or else I'm going to kill you. Be really protective over Izuku. And Izuku would just, be chilling as usual, getting points. They would both get the same score, the same place. And they would both be above one person who got really close to getting past them, but just couldn't do it. Just barely by a snag they got above the person. And this person is Shoto Todoroki. And but they got top spot. Yes, both Bakugo and Izuku, because of both their hero points and their villain points, like equal amount plus like really high amount, they both got first place. They tied. And Todoroki wouldn't really, he would care because he's supposed to be like strong, prove his father wrong and all that. He would care, but he also really wouldn't care because he would get another chance to prove his father wrong whenever he got into UA because recommendations and all that shit. Same thing with Momo. I mean, she's going to get in anyways because of recommendations. But Izuku and Bakugo, like, whenever Bakugo hears that he's gonna get into UA, he just, like, explosive speeds it all the way over to Enko's house, and it's just like, doorbell, freaking doorbell, like, freaking doorbell, like, freaking Jotaro's the freaking doorbell, like, freaking Jotaro's the freaking doorbell. Like, freaking Star Platinum. And it would just be like Inko would just be like, you don't have to kill our doorbell in order for me to know that you're here. Your explosive power is enough to alert anyone that you're at their house. And, she'd be saying it in more of a complimenting way, like his explosions are strong enough that anyone could know if he was at their house, like at their door. She was meaning it more of a compliment way, and Bakugo, seeing as the alpha dog dominance in him has died down because of his relationship with Izuku, he wouldn't really find it as like what it isn't. He wouldn't find it as an insult. He would indeed find it as a compliment because the alpha dog dominance in him has either died down or went somewhere else instead of his ego. He still has ego, but the alpha dog dominance isn't really like clashing with his ego and making like a monster out of freaking Bakugo. Like canon Bakugo. And basically Bakugo basically just like, the whole mat. Like Izuku did the same thing at Mitsuki's house, like wiping the shoes. And he would just go in automatically after wiping his shoes and just like, foosh! And be like, sorry, Inko, but I can't really ask for permission. This is really important. And, Inko would be like, if it's really that important that he can't ask for permission to Izuku's room, at least for me, then what is it? And, she just starts to listen in. I mean, if it's that important, I mean, come on. Why not listen in? I mean, that is your child. Izuku is still Inko's child. Just because of the gender change doesn't mean that Inko doesn't still accept Izuku as, family. And, speaking of Izuku, Bakugo freaking barges in, but as soon as he realized that he barged in without really, like asking if he could come in, he's just like, oh, sorry, I'm gonna have to do that again. And Izuku's like, what do you mean? And he basically goes back and then, like, closes the door, and he just knocks, like, knock, knock, knock. Oh, can I come in? And, look, Izuku would be like, Bakugo, you don't have to do that. I know how you are. And, Izuku would just, open the door. And like a freaking vampire, it's like, only if you ask for permit, only if, like, you say that they can come in. It's kind of like that vampire thing, only if you let them in. And however way you let them in, I don't know, but okay. I guess that's a rule. And, Bakugo would be all excited to tell Izuku and just like, I'm getting into UA. So, did you get a letter? And Izuku's like, she's like teary-eyed, but with a smile. And, Bakugo is just like, why are you smiling if you're crying? And, just full on freaking bear hug freaking Kachan, just be like, I got in too. We're both getting in. And I was even told early, class, class that I'm going to is 1A. And it's a class that Shotai Aizawa teaches. Oh, homeroom. And, Kachan basically says, I was told the same thing. And basically, it's just like, Kachan is like, is this because everyone knows now? And, Izuku is just like, yeah, probably. But, hey, let's not have that ruin our fun. We can do training together. I mean, that's just all the more motivation to do exactly that, right? And Kachan is like, I would have thought you had never asked, or said anything about that. Well then, starting tomorrow, our training regiment. Let's go. And then, like, the next day, they would do the training, and then the following days, like, they aren't doing training, they would be, like, socializing. And even during the training, they would kind of be socializing, like, talking to each other as they were fighting. And so, like, they are so in sync, but they also, like, Bakugo kind of, like, brought up the fact of, like, if we're separated, we have to know how to be able to handle ourselves. And so they also kind of did training on that. Like, a lot of training, like, with each other, but a lot of training without each other as well, to, like, help them, like, be able to defend themselves even if they weren't with the other person. And, Izuku would just be like, and I think I have the perfect idea for a snack. And, just brings out the supplies, and it's just like, Kachan is just like, wait, you prepared this? And, Izuku was like, I knew we were both gonna win. I just didn't know we were both gonna get first place. And that Shoto guy was gonna be so close to actually. Wow, he's really good. Did you see what he was doing? And, like, Kanchan would actually say that he didn't really want to watch because he started to realize that he was only really getting freaking villain points. He was only really destroying the robots, never, like, really helping anyone. And, Izuku would be like, yeah, that isn't really like a hero at all. Like, the heroes also have to help people. He would basically just, like, Kanchan and Izuku would just agree with each other on the fact that they don't really like Todoroki, like Shoto. Like, they don't really like Shoto because he only really went for the villain points, not for the hero points. He never really tried to, save anyone, but considering his childhood, or at least what of his childhood before he actually went to the entrance exams, considering his childhood, I don't think he would want to uh, want to help anybody. But they don't really know all that much yet. And I said yet. And so basically they would be like, okay, how long is it left until the entrance exam? Like, that's what Kachan would say. And Izuku would be like, it's tomorrow. And Kachan would be like, what the shit? It's tomorrow? Actually, he wouldn't say entrance exam. He would say first day of UA. How long is it till the first day of UA? And Izuku would be like, Kachan, it's tomorrow. And, like, freaking Kachan would just be like, wait, what? We've been training for that long? And Izuku would be like, yeah, I love training with you. You're my, if, like, they would basically both be, like, looking at each other, looking at each other and basically be, like, looking into their eyes and seeing all the love and passion. And all the fear as well, because they really don't know what UA is gonna be like. Like, they saw the entrance exam, the whole thing with that, like the written exam and the robots, but they aced both of those. you know, so they really weren't scared of that. But, this is actually going to be their first actual day of actual UA. Just have to get that off. This is going to be the first ever day of actual UA. And whenever they start to realize the whole yellow caterpillar, they're both just like whispering, "Oh God, no, it's Aizawa. It's the guy who did that thing that really, really he shouldn't have done." And instead of having, Bakugo be like several seats away from Izuku, I'm gonna sit that they sit right next to each other. Ooh, yeah, but where would sitting right next to each other be? I guess since Momo got in due to recommendations, where Momo would normally sit is where Bakugo would sit. And where Bakugo would sit is where Momo would sit. Basically, they switch seats. I'm switching their seats. So that, they can sit next to each other. And also make sure that Kachan, keeps an eye on Mineta. Because, actually, wait. Izuku was seat 18? Wasn't Mineta seat 19 and Yaoyorozu seat 20? I guess Mineta would be in between the two of them, but they would still be considered pretty close to each other, like pretty close next to each other. Yeah, like, Kachan would be sitting where Yaoyorozu usually sat, and Yaoyorozu would be sitting where Kachan usually sat in the original anime slash manga. And, Izuku's seat wouldn't really change, and Mineta's seat wouldn't really change. But the thing about that is, Kachan, does not like Mineta. And Mineta, Kachan is just like, if you dare. Because he knows, Kachan knows, just from the little time that he's seen of Mineta during both of the exams, that he is a perv. And, that Izuku's gender has changed. Mineta's a guy. Izuku's a girl now. And Kachan would just go up to Mineta's ear while they were sitting in their desks, and he would just be like, if you dare go into the girls' locker room and start peeking at my girlfriend, I will end you so hard you'll be able to feel it throughout the stratosphere and back 100 bajillion million times over. Is that understood, you little cockroach? He would be super freaking pissed. He'd be like Broly pissed. Like wrathful form Broly pissed. That's how pissed he would be. And Mineta, we would be like taking a mental note of that. He'd be like, wait, so already taken? And Kachan would be like, yes, already taken. She's mine. Izuku is mine. Do you understand that, you little cockroach? And the one person that Kachan would keep on, making saying names about, and instead of Izuku, because Izuku doesn't basically already said to Kachan that doesn't really mind the whole Deku thing anymore. The only person who would really be getting name called would be Mineta. Yeah, Kachan would constantly be calling him cockroach. Like, every single time he thought he was trying to peek, he'd be like, "You freaking cockroach," or even like the insinuation that he was trying to peek. Like, just like, he would just be like, "You damn cockroach." Like, he thinks that little of him. He is like that pissed at Mineta. You know, the way the seats were organized, Mineta is like in between the two of them. So they can't really freaking, you know, like, if they try to socialize, Mineta will hear what they're, trying to socialize about, unless they, like, figure out a way to, like, master sign language. But I don't see Kachan doing that anytime soon. I'm not trying to say that he's stupid, I'm just saying that I don't think I see him, putting in that much effort into sign language. And Izuku would just be like, well, Kachan, it's either that or you know what. And Kachan would be like, fine. And, actually, like, Izuku would actually get him into mastering sign language so that Mineta couldn't be a perv on him. Because, he wouldn't know what they were saying because Mineta would not understand sign language. And so, basically, over the amount of time that they had left in the day, like, certain things, like, they were able to figure out. And so, whenever they're talking to each other, they aren't really talking, they're using sign language, and Mineta has no idea what's going on. And Aizawa would realize that they were using sign language. And the reason why was because Mineta is a perv. And so, yeah. Well, they only really use sign language whenever, Mineta's around. Or, like, whenever, like, one of them comes in and just, like, wants to sign language say hello or sign language say goodbye whenever they're leaving the house. Just to, like, pull a little bit of a prank. Or just a little bit of a, you know, just something funny. Or at least Izuku thinks it's funny. And, well, what I mean by leaving the house is, actually, I'm gonna save that for later. Holy shit, an hour long. An hour and 22 minutes long. Good God. So yeah, I'm gonna have to stop right here. Alon Z and Adausis, the Dark Shadow Maverick is OUT out of here.